Welcome, ladies, to the Work in Real Time, Episode 5. It is Wednesday, February the 4th. My name is Alicia, and I am a holistic health coach who supports women in creating lives that feel sustainable, grounding, and nourishing. Since the last time I checked in, I've been finishing Lesson 3, Guilt-Free Permission, Why All Foods Fit. And I've begun Lesson 4, Building Trust with Your Body Again. And this week felt like a turning point, not because everything felt suddenly easy, but because something inside me softened. One of the first things I did as I closed out Lesson 3 was to quietly start leaving social media spaces that were centered around diet rules. I could feel how much those messages, subtle or loud, kept pulling me back into fear and control. Creating space felt necessary. I also chose very intentionally to include foods that bring me joy. That included a deli sandwich I love and a few sweet treats. At the end of Lesson 3, I was asked a powerful question. If I truly believed all foods could fit without guilt or shame, what might change? What came up for me was ease. I imagined eating without constantly questioning whether I had made a good or bad decision. Enjoying food without the mental chatter. And allowing myself to experiment without immediately worrying about the consequences. What felt relieving was the possibility of letting go of restrictions, not having to fight myself at every meal. But what also came up was fear. Fear of losing control, overindulging, and the fear that old worries about food addiction would resurface. Trusting myself around food still feels unfamiliar because I have relied on rules for so long. One realization that stayed with me as I finished Lesson 3 was the fact that food freedom isn't something I've never known. I knew how to listen once. As a baby, I cried when I was hungry and turned my head when I was full. As a young child, I ate until I was satisfied. Somewhere around age 10, when I went on my first restrictive diet, I stopped listening. So now, as I'm relearning hunger and fullness, I'm holding a lot of compassion. I remind myself, I stopped listening a long time ago. Of course, this will take time. My body never stopped sending messages. I just learned how to ignore them. So for now, my focus is on consistency, experimentation, and nourishment, not perfection. When I began Lesson 4, I pulled the hunger fullness check-in card. Before eating, I paused and asked, how hungry am I? And after eating, how full do I feel? I could see that this particular practice was about recognizing sensations once again. I also pulled the card that invited me to eat slowly enough to notice whether I was truly satisfied, not just full. In the past, when I restricted, I ate what I thought I should eat. It filled my stomach, but it didn't necessarily satisfy me. This practice not only began to help me recognize satisfaction again, but it also showed me just how disconnected I had been from my body and how to slowly reconnect once more. As I reflected, I wrote about how strained my body had been through years of dieting, control, and fear. I learned to doubt my hunger, fullness, and even my worth. Acknowledging that now feels emotional but also freeing because I can finally see that my body was never the enemy. This past weekend gave me a real life opportunity to practice compassion. We were forecasted to have a serious ice storm. I prepared the way I always do. I stocked comfort food, warm drinks, and things that feel grounding. Saturday and Sunday became days of grazing, warmth, and rest while I waited for the impact. By Monday, I realized we had missed the storm. However, what had taken place with my eating 2 days prior caused an old thought to resurface, and that was that I can't be trusted with food. But I have to say something was different this time. Instead of spiraling, I paused. I remembered that eating comfort food is what I do during times when the environment around me is forced to slow down. Is it how I will always move going forward? Maybe not. But for now, compassion matters more. And all I know is that wrapping myself in comfort, sipping warm beverages, enjoying nourishing food, and permitting myself to simply be was a pause that felt like a much needed gift. This week also carried a lot of emotional weight for me, physically and energetically. I felt slow. In the past, I would have pushed through. This time I chose to sit with it. I also chose food to help me cope. But the shift was this: I didn't tell myself I had messed up. I didn't think about starting over. I just kept moving forward. And in that moment, I realized this is progress. As I close out this month in the program, I've learned more about myself than I expected. And I've uncovered thoughts and patterns I once believed were normal. I can see just how deeply diet culture shaped me and how critical I've been toward myself. The world is already harsh enough. I don't need to add my own judgment on top of it. I'm slowly unpacking that and changing the narrative. I'm genuinely looking forward to the next module, Black Women, Food, and Body Liberation, Understanding Our Story. I have a feeling it's going to be meaningful in ways I can't yet name. What I'm carrying forward is a commitment to loosen the grip of restriction, to choosing compassion when fear shows up, and trusting that my body and I can find our way back to each other one moment at a time. That's where I am as I continue Lesson 4 and prepare to begin the next module. I'll check back in next time and share what unfolds. If you're navigating your own relationship with food, body, or health, and would like to learn more about the Empower Her journey or join my free private Facebook group, you can find that information in the links below. And I'll see you next week right here for the work in real time.